Hello everyone, I'm Forrest McFreelava, and this is Speedplay Mesoamerica number 1. We're starting off as Z, a country that has basically the highest development of any Mayan group. We go ahead and pick our early missions, try to get our early alliances. We can ally 2 other Mayan states. The third one right next to us doesn't want to ally us or have anything to do with us, which is pretty great because that's an easy place to just expand. The area directly to our south also wants to ally. We won't royal marry them because we want to just be able to break the alliance and go to war whenever we feel like. So we're just going to have them as an ally so they don't ally our enemies, essentially. We also are in the process of raising an army. We go ahead and get that all together. And we're going to just go ahead and declare this war right now. As is really what anyone does in any early EU4 start. It's just find the person you can attack and then attack them with as much as you can as quickly as possible. So we managed to pull that off, I would say, fairly quickly. We also have a event where we get bonus relations to all of our neighbors, although we probably won't be keeping that, to be honest. And we go ahead and just move our armies to siege their capital. We'll probably speed things up for just a moment. We set our merchants, take a look at our states. Luckily, our state finishes off with the regions we're about to take, so that's pretty nice. And we'll be able to just fully annex them in this war, which is also quite nice. Now, I imagine things like aggressive expansion aren't really going to be too much of an issue since we have a lot of allies nearby. And also, I believe that really plays into just how to Mesoamerican, really. We do manage to start coring everything at once, which is nice. We're going to have to be focusing on admin power for quite some time, as we have a lot to take over. And that's not even really saying that we'll be able to take it all over, because we have to reform our religion and deal with all of that, and whatever that ends up causing to our country. At any rate, though, we have at least 5 years of peace right now, because quite some while ago they made it so you can't just break alliances then go to war the next day. You have to actually break alliances, then wait 5 years for your truce to come up and then go to war, which is probably a good idea. We also go ahead and just focus on making our estates love us just really quickly. And at this point we can just kind of rack this whole thing up. We're looking around at just the rest of Mesoamerica, trying to improve relations. And so we're going to be ditching our ally right next to us. So we're going to start replacing them with allies slightly further away in an attempt to really just hold everything together. Unfortunately, they allied the Aztecs, which is kind of a problem. We do also go ahead and make sure that we get notifications every time anyone goes to war, because they're going to be alliance blocks as we get further out of our peninsula into the rest of Mesoamerica. And we would rather not start an alliance block on alliance block war. We'd rather be a third alliance block just jumping in. Anyway, having taken a look at all of those and just kind of prepared ourselves, we're going to have to just break our alliance, wait a while, and then declare war. Until then, we don't really have anything else we can do. We do have some decently strong allies just throughout the area, quite far away from us, but those are the best allies as we won't rub noses against one another. We go ahead and just speed things up for a moment. Go ahead and start fabricating claims against our good ally. And hopefully this war will be rather straightforward. They do have strong allies. I was hoping to ally the Aztecs just because, quite frankly, the name Aztec kind of implies the Aztec Empire, which implies that they have probably a decent military and good starting position. Unfortunately, our former allies were able to ally them, which means that we don't quite get any of those benefits. We do get ready to go to war. We can call in only really one of our allies right now, and that's with the offer of a province. Now, that doesn't really sound too appealing. However, it is something we should probably do just for the best, just because we can't take on their entire alliance block alone. We are still raising forces into our military, just at the rate that we can vaguely afford it. We do go ahead and hire a military general from our estate, as opposed to any other kind of general. It is 2 stars, though, which is great and will really help us. We just win and stack wipe their force, which is an amazing way to start a war. And then we start splitting up our armies and rushing to the various territories we need to occupy. Our ally occupied that one, but it's perfectly fine. I guess that's just the province we'll give them in the peace deal, which is really the best province they could have taken because it's conveniently out of our way, keeps them with a front line, and really just makes the borders look kind of nice. So at this point, we're going to have to just sort of wait until our siege finishes, and then until they're willing to make peace. Their allies don't appear to actually be coming to help, because the country in between us and them is in a rival alliance bloc, and doesn't want to give them military access, so that's very, very nice. We seize that province, however, it doesn't really help us all that much since they do have foreign allies abroad. They're not really willing to make peace. So we're going to go ahead and just speed things up a bit through quite some time. Looking back, I really regret how I handled these initial years. We probably could have gotten a lot more done a lot more quickly. Oh well, it doesn't matter too much. It's not like the end of the world's going to come for us or anything like that. We go ahead and manage to make peace, as you've seen. Move our army just onto the border, and we're going to try to declare war on this alliance bloc at some point. Probably not just at the moment, as it would be nice to wait until they're at war. Although, it looks like they are at war, so that's very nice for us. We can just build up what remains of the forces that we're producing, get them all together, and right after that, declare this war. So it looks like we can get 2 of our allies involved, if we would so choose. We can get one involved just for favors, and the other involved for land. We're just going to get the guy we can get involved for favors, since we've already given up one province. Although really that isn't too much to give. We do move our armies ahead. They have their allies' armies up in the north. Their armies are nowhere to be seen because they're fighting another alliance bloc, which is pretty nice for us. We do move our forces up just so we can hopefully trap and destroy that army. Unfortunately, we reveal even more of their armies, and they're starting to encircle us. So we go ahead and call in our other ally who would join for land. And we're going to need his army because there are actually quite a few enemy forces. We go down and we don't actually help our ally here because we wait for more reinforcements. We get them, we send even more troops in, we send the last of our troops in. We do win the battle, which is great news. Sadly, we pull off to the right. I was thinking of reinforcing all of our troops. I realized we probably should have chased their armies down. We rush over, split our army into 2 groups, realize that was a mistake, reunify it, attack that force, and luckily we win that battle. Charge up to destroy them, and unluckily we lose that battle, which puts us in a massive retreat and leaves our sieging force really out in the open, so we rush back to get some forces nearby. They're not even going for it though, they're going for the remains of our army, which sadly they meet up with. We do win though, we managed to pull our sieging force back and win it. Sadly, they came in with even more reinforcements, and we lose that subsequent engagement, which is far less than ideal. We raise considerable extra forces, even actually undoing one of those raised forces because we realized it's a little too much. And now we just get our army together, we get all these new forces together. Hopefully our ally will join up and not just walk adjacent to us. They did. Hopefully we have a large enough force to go in and win this battle. We do still have a 2-star general, who is pretty nice and will hopefully turn the tide at least in some way. And it looks as though he did. We managed to win that. We detach a siege, which will only just take a month. We charge in, stack wipe them, split off a sieging force, and move our forces back up to this place which has been so dangerous. We win the first battle. Unfortunately, they move south and we lose 1,000 men. We just put the other forces up on that top city with the fort. And now it's just a matter of waiting politely for a little while as all of these sieges tick through. We've essentially won the war. There's an entire other alliance bloc doing their thing in the distance. We go ahead and grant one of those territories to our ally. The rest of the land we take for ourselves. And just like that, we go ahead, we start coring it. We could just start converting places as we have moved out of Mayan religion and cultured areas into places with weird foreign areas and religions and cultures and whatnot. Overall, though, it doesn't really matter too very much. We also get ready to declare a new war, just moving ourselves forward even further, this time with the alliance bloc we were kind of tangentially on the side of. However, we don't have enough troops, so we start building up more and more forces, and just kind of being antsy with our army, as you may have just seen. We go ahead, get all these forces up. I almost raise another 4 groups of mercenaries, decide that's probably too much. We can go to war, none of our allies will join, and it's because we're breaking a truce. Evidently, at one point, they had joined one of our wars as an ally of our combatants, our enemy combatants, so now we're going to just kind of have to sit here for a moment, which I was not actually planning for, but which is apparently quite a bit of the theme of this one. We could potentially break our alliance and just abandon Kitche, so we're going to do that. They do want the alliance back. Unfortunately, I don't see that as really being feasible at this point. And worst case, we're just going to wait the next 5 years. Stabilizing, we'll say, stabilizing our country, fighting off the inevitable revolters from the territories we have conquered. You'll notice there are some rebel factions forming. We keep our estates generally in line. It's not as though they're disloyal, just keeping them as loyal as we can. And there is a rebellion. We managed to just rush in and destroy it. Our 2-star general is proving to be very, very helpful. And just like that, we can probably just wait around for a moment. We keep looking at advisors, trying to find good ones. We get another revolt, which we just kind of rush into. And unfortunately, we do not win, despite having a very nice general. We raise 2 groups of mercenaries and then another group of mercenaries. And we'll just unify all of these forces and charge right back in. I don't want to give them enough time to reinforce, although arguably our army needs the time as well. Our army apparently needed the time to reinforce a little bit more than they did. We raised 2 more groups of mercenaries, and unfortunately I realized we're charging headlong into them slightly after I was able to stop the army, so we lose a 3rd battle, which is less than ideal. Probably shouldn't have done that so many times. Probably far less than optimal play. We raise 2 more mercenary groups, the month ticks over before we attack, and we finally win that. So, yeah, probably a good thing that we weren't able to be in a war while that was happening, as that could have gone considerably worse. We also make a state out of that other territory, and now everything that our former ally owns is part of a state that we want. It also makes it so our estates kind of hate us. So we go ahead and just grant them lands. We can probably get something or other from them. Our former ally is still asking to be our ally again, which at this point they don't really serve any function since they don't actually border anyone but us. And yeah, really at that point they're just not very helpful. We do continue to raise up forces, and they are allied to the Aztec, as apparently everyone we break an alliance with just loves the Aztec. We move our forces over, and we can get our allies involved, which is going to be very nice. We do call in one of them. The other we actually do also call in. And at this point, we are going to not fight the Aztecs, because we would have to just go into their awful fort city and everything. We just go over, let our allies sadly lose. I kind of wish they would have performed a bit better, but we can't even get to that side of the world, basically. We do win against that army, stack wiping it, and now we'll just siege these people out completely if we're at all able to. They are the war leaders, which is the most important thing, so as long as I siege them out entirely, no matter what happens with the Aztecs, we will be, at least fairly alright, because we can just make peace. Maybe not getting everything that we want, but at least getting a decent amount. We also do start moving back into the Aztec territories. They're just smashing through our allied armies, proving that they got an empire in real life for a decent reason, at least. And alright, just like that, we're back into the traditional point where we're just kind of sieging. They're also just kind of sieging. So, in a mutual thing where our armies are just sitting around watching each other siege one another's lands, we just kind of go through that with a little bit of quickness, as it is sort of static at this point. We do manage to win that siege in the south, so we just bring this army up. They're about to win their siege, though, which is a little tiny bit worrying. However, we managed to time that pretty well just through sheer luck, and our armies are unified. We are getting a bit of attrition from here, and their armies are just kind of doing their thing in a bit of a worrying way. One of our allies pieces out, losing a territory. We're getting attacked, and we're going to lose that battle really hard, so we're going to just make peace right now before that happens. And, yeah, there we go. And hey, look at that. We managed to get peace. We got most of our former allies' lands. There's still a 1 province minor, but, they were a lot worse. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. We'll be back tomorrow with more Mesoamerican intrigue. Have a great day.